Hey y'all, welcome to Mama's Kitchen. It's Mama's Kitchen with Mary Beth, and I'm getting ready to make some tortillas with some of the fresh milled wheat flour. It's half white, half red, fresh milled wheat flour. So that's what I'm going to use to make them. I am making the recipe that's in Sue Becker's recipe collection book for the whole wheat tortillas. I've made them before. They turned out really well. And so we're gonna walk through this and make some tortillas. I've showed you the 2 cups of fresh milled wheat flour. It takes 1/4 cup of oil. I use olive oil. It takes 1 cup of warm water. I have that ready. It's also going to take a teaspoon of salt. And so I use the Redmond's real salt. 2 tablespoons of the sunflower lecithin. That just kind of helps it hold together. And baking powder. Well, of course, my baking powder is the one that my grandmother always said, always get Clabber Girl baking powder. I don't know if it's one of the better ones or not, but you know, my grandmother told me to get it, and she was one of the best cooks I knew and best bakers that I knew, so I use Clabber Girl. And who knows, they could have changed it over the years. Well, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put our liquids into the mixing bowl. So there goes the water, here goes the oil, and then on top of that, we're going to add our dry ingredients. So let me put this, I don't know if you can see this or not, but teaspoon of salt. I think I will put my flour in next. So there's my 2 cups of flour. Broke my wrist and back several months ago, and it still makes it a little difficult at times to deal with. There goes our flour, teaspoon of salt. Two tablespoons of the lecithin, which is, she says is optional. I use it in my bread, and so I'm going to use it in this too. 2 tablespoons. I get this from Amazon, sunflower lettuce. I'm not sure I pronounce it correctly, but anyway, it stays in the refrigerator because it has to be refrigerated. And lastly is our 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, our Clabber Girl. Grandmama would be proud that I'm still using Clabber Girl. Anyway, okay. So I'm gonna turn this on. And we're gonna mix it up. Okay, y'all, it is mixed up and it's got to knead. And so I'll come back once it's finished kneading. This is our dough. It's not stiff. It says do not let it get stiff. It's workable, but I'm probably gonna have to put a little bit of flour on my surface. And so I'm gonna take it out of this bowl, and then we roll it into a log, and then we cut it into pieces. So I'll be back. Okay, y'all, here's our dough ball, and I have put a little bit of flour down here because it's a little bit wet. I ended up having to add about a 1/2 cup more of flour because it's been raining here, and humidity can, you know, change the way flour acts. So put a rubber glove to protect my splint. We're gonna roll this in a roll. A little more flour on there. So she says the dough should be in a log 2 to 2.5 inches in diameter and sliced in 1/2 inch thick rounds that look like a hockey puck, and then let rest. So I'm going to, that's a little bit fat. I think that's a little bit bigger than 2.5 inches. The last time I made these, I did cut it in 12 pieces, but I thought that they were a little bit thin. So I'm going to get them a little bit bigger. I'm going to start cutting them. I'm actually going to cut them in 1-inch slices. And then once we do that, we're going to roll them in a ball. Makes it a little hard with this plastic glove on, but that's okay. That's going to be a baby one, looks like. So we'll roll these in. I'm going to finish slicing this, roll them into balls, and let them rest. And you want to roll them. And then I don't have a tortilla press, so that means that I'm going to be rolling my tortillas out with a rolling pin. And you can do either way. If you have a tortilla press, that's great. I just don't have one yet. And so a friend of mine makes hers from scratch, and she just rolls them out with a rolling pin. So, okay, y'all, we're going to start rolling these out. So I'm going to flatten this out a little bit. Got a little bit of flour on my counter. Move these dough balls because I don't want to get into them. I ended up, I think I said, with 10. I did not try to get 12 out of it. So you're just going to roll these out like you would a pie crust. But you do have to add some flour on the bottom. Or I did, because they were a little bit, I guess because of the rain, it was a little stickier dough than normal. Just keep rolling them as thin as you want them. I have some parchment paper over here and a plate. So as I roll these out, I'm going to put them on the parchment paper. I'll be putting some in the freezer, and I will be fixing some for my husband's supper. So I will. These are, you know, a little bit smaller than what you get in the store, but you know, you can add more dough. You don't have to make them as small as I did. You can make your dough balls bigger, and then they will be, you'll have a bigger tortilla. Okay, y'all, I'm back, and I have rolled out all 10 of those dough balls. I have my skillet, my non-stick skillet, heating up. And I'm going to lower this, hopefully, this camera, so you can see it. I have a very small shelf here by my stovetop. So let's see if I can get a little more in there. Okay, we're smoking. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. I'm gonna put this first one in. And you're supposed to leave it until it bubbles up. So we're gonna let this see, it's bubbling up right here. Maybe you can see that. Some of these ended up actually being round, and others ended up being kind of not so uniformly shaped. See that bubble that's popping up? So we're gonna watch some bubbles. I think it's supposed to be on there about 10 or 15 seconds. So you flip it over. Let's see what it's looking like on the other side. Almost. Look at those big bubbles that are showing up. So once we turn it over, flip it over, I don't know why I can't say flip today. So now you can see how it's browning on this side. It's bubbling up. I'm gonna let it cook a few seconds longer, and then I'm going to move it over to my plate, and I will continue to cook the rest of these tortillas. Okay, y'all, got all of my tortillas all done, 10 of them. Lynn will be eating some of them for his supper, and I will put the rest of them when they cool in the freezer. These are so much healthier than the ones that are still hot. They're so much healthier than the ones that you get in the store because they're made with the fresh milled wheat flour, and I use organic olive oil and as many organic ingredients as I can. So we'll see how Lynn likes them. I'll let you know. Bye.